Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be my update for my palette of the month. So I am actually changing this video up a little bit. Instead of just showing you the palette and going through each shade and maybe doing some swatches, I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial. So this is the look I created today that I'm going to be showing you with this palette. So if you didn't see my last update video, the palette for August, is that what month it was? Is my Colourpop single shadows, and these are actually some Colourpop mixed in with a few Makeup Geek shadows. So as you can see, the color story is kind of monochromatic. We have those yellow warm toned rows and then also kind of a section of purple cool toned colors. So to be honest, I didn't use this palette as much as I would normally use my palette of the month. I probably did like 6 or 7 looks with it, but I did obviously a few with these yellow tones and then some cool tones. And also I will have my Instagram down below if you guys want to go over there to check out some of the looks I did with this palette. But in today's video I'm just going to be showing you this look that I created. So I did really enjoy using these, and I specifically wanted to use these yellow tones because I have been wanting the Naked Urban Decay Honey palette, and I was very close to buying that actually, but I reminded myself that I have these shades in my collection that I can create pretty much the same look with, so I stopped myself from buying that palette, thank God, because I don't need any more eyeshadow palettes in my collection. I have so many already. So I did create some really fun looks with these yellow tones, and I also did obviously some cool tone looks. I didn't really use the yellows and purples together. I should have done a look like that, but maybe sometime in the future I will do that. And I also really loved the way these shadows performed. I didn't have any issues with them. They blended out really nicely, and the metallic shades were also really pretty. Like I said, some of them are Colourpop. I think most of them are Colourpop, but some of them are also Makeup Geek. And I really enjoyed some of these pretty metallic colors down here and like some of these over here. So yeah, I'm excited I got some use out of my single shadows, and I definitely need to use my single shadows a bit more because I do have like 2 other palettes filled with single shadows like this. So now I'm going to get into the tutorial part of things, and I will be telling you the names of the shadows I used in the tutorial, but if you want to know any of the other shades that are in this palette, just leave a comment down below asking me and I can let you know. So the first shadow that I went in with kind of as like a transition shade is the shade Take Flight from Colourpop, and I just blended this through my crease, just blowing it out as a transition shade. And then the next shade I went in with is the shade Paper Tiger, also from Colourpop, and I use this just as my crease shade, so keeping it a little bit below the transition shade, and I just use this to deepen up the crease a little bit. And then I did decide to do a halo eye, so I went in with a little bit of a deeper brownish tone in the shade Cloud 9 from Colourpop. So I just took this on a little small pencil brush and I packed it on the outer corner and also on the inner corner to create that halo effect. And then once I got most of the product off of the brush, I blended it through the crease a little bit just to kind of connect those colors. And then for the lid shade, I went in with one of the metallic colors, and this was actually from Makeup Geek. It's in the shade Legend. So I just used my finger with that and I packed it all over the lid, mostly keeping it in the center of the lid so that you could still see that deeper shade on the outer and inner corner. And then the next metallic shade I went in with is a little bit more gold and lighter than the shade Legend, but it is in the shade Two Birds from Colourpop, and I just packed this again right in the center of my lid, keeping it a little bit more concentrated than that last deeper metallic shade we used. Last shade that I put on my lid is the shade Baby Lights from Colourpop, and this is more of a lid topper, so I just used that again on my finger and just packed it all over the lid, kind of to give a nice glittery finish. For the lower lash line, I went in again with the shade we used for the transition in the shade Take Flight from Colourpop, and basically did the same thing we did on the top lid, and I copied it on the bottom lid, or my lower lash line. So I also took a little bit of Paper Tiger and then blended it on the lower lash line. So that is how I created this look that I have on right now. And if you want to see another tutorial with this palette or any other palettes in my collection, just let me know. But yeah, I really enjoyed using this palette for the month of August. And I enjoyed getting some use out of my single shadows because I do tend to neglect them a little bit. But the palette that I'm going to be using for September, I chose the Milani Pure Passion palette, and these are going to be discontinued. I've heard a few people say they found them for a discounted price at like TJ Maxx, and I think they're also on sale on the Milani website. So if you're interested in these palettes, I would definitely recommend picking them up now before they are completely discontinued and no longer available. But this is a really pretty warm palette. It's basically a neutral warm palette, so it's not really anything like too out of the ordinary, but I am really excited to get some use out of this because I haven't used it much. And they do also have other color stories in this. I know they have a cooler toned color story, and then I think there's also one that's all mattes. So if those interest you, I'd recommend picking up these palettes. And also, this is a really good drugstore palette that's really inexpensive, but also has really good quality shadows. So I'm really excited to get some use out of this, and I like how it has some lighter tones you can create an everyday look with, and then also some deeper tones to deepen up the look and make it a bit more intense. And they have a row of shimmers and then mattes, and then again shimmers and mattes. So it's like lighter shimmers, mattes, and then deeper shimmers and mattes. So I really like the way this palette is laid out. It just kind of looks nice and satisfying. So I am excited to get some use out of this. And that's going to be it for my palette of the month update. Let me know if you like this format better, where I show you an actual look with my palette of the month instead of just going through swatches and explaining the shades in the palettes. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And I do post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I think I might actually start posting on Sunday. So if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified every time I post. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.